Hello, I'm Jessica Morse, and this is my giant cell video using random materials for my Biology 112 class. First, let me explain what organelles are. They are a small membranous structure in the cytoplasm that have a specific structure and function as said in our biology textbook. Using these organelles together allow the cell to be more efficient and successful, which brings me to my analogy. The cell to me is like a military installation. Starting off, we have the cell wall, which, according to the National Human Genome Research Institute, the cell wall is the outer surface that shapes, supports, and protects the cell. Going back to my analogy, I would say the cell membrane is accurately represented by the gates that surround most military installations, which are there for the protection of the base. And what I chose to represent this on my giant cell is my bed, because it's in the shape of a rectangle and it reminds me a lot of a cell. So this is going to be our cell wall. The next organelle I want to talk about is the plasma membrane. According to an article on Study Smarter, the plasma membrane surrounds cytoplasm and regulates entrance and exits of molecules. This is more accurately represented by the gate guards that allow only those with permission to get in on the base. And what I chose to represent this is, again, my bed. So on top of this cell wall would be the plasma membrane. Next, we have the mitochondria, which is an organelle that carries out cellular respiration, producing ATP molecules. Referring to my analogy, I would say these are any maintenance squadron as being the powerhouses because they fix many of the problems that go on. You can't have anything go wrong pretty much because you have maintenance. So what I chose to represent this is this lantern because it lights up and it's basically powered, so powerhouse, it just kind of makes sense. Next, we have the Golgi apparatus, which processes, packages, and secretes modified proteins, which would be represented by the supply squadrons, which give us what we need to complete certain jobs. And what I chose to represent this in my cell is here this packing slip, because it packages stuff, so I thought packing slip would make sense. Next, we have the centrosome. It is the microtubule organizing center that contains a pair of centrioles, and I think this would be closely represented by services. They are the ones that provide the organization needed on base, and what I chose to represent this on my cell are these Swiffer pads, because they look like it from the drawings. Next, we have the lysosomes, which, according to an article on Journal of Cell Biology, they're the organelle that gets rid of cell waste products and scavenges metabolic building blocks that sustain essential biosynthetic reactions during starvation. This would be represented by the Civil Engineer Squadron, which would be able to run the base if everything went wrong. So what I chose to represent this are these small little circular magnets, because in the drawings I see are these little circles in the cell. Next, we have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which synthesizes lipids, phospholipids, and plasma membrane, as in plasma membranes and steroids. They also lack ribosomes. This would be represented by the reconnaissance squadron, which collects data for the base. What I have representing this on my cell is these two jackets. The reason I chose them is because they're smooth. They're made of a smooth material. Next, we have the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is studded with ribosomes that synthesize proteins for the rest of the cell to function. This would be represented by the intelligence squadron, which receives the information and sorts what is needed and gives it to the person that needs it the most, the information. what I chose to represent this is this rough blanket that we have. It's pretty rough. And I chose these little chip clips to represent the ribosomes that this is studded with. So that's what these guys are here for. And next we have the ribosomes, which are made of RNA and proteins. It is the site of protein synthesis in a cell. And I think the Security Forces Squadron fits the bill because they supply the main manpower needed to help the base. And again, like I've said, I chose these little chip clips to represent them because they look like small circles in the pictures. So that's why I picked these little guys. And last but not least, we have the nucleus, which is the command center of a cell. For this, looking back at my analogy, it would be the commander of the base because they are the ones that determine what happens, what going forward that we should do. And what I have representing this is my pillow. Here we got my nucleus. Reason I picked it, although it's not circular, it just made sense because my cell wall is rectangular. And then to reiterate, I think a cell is like a military installation because if one group doesn't work properly, the rest would not be able to accomplish their mission. So that is the end of my video. Thank you.